Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. I'm Hasham Ali Khan. Now I'm starting a new topic, that is elasticity of demand. This is also there in unit number 2. So in the second unit, already I have completed the pricing decisions, the different methods or approaches applied in order to fix the selling price. And then I have explained you about the target costing. Now the third topic in this unit number 2 is elasticity of demand. So in examination you may be asked, what is elasticity of demand? What are the different types of elasticity of demand? What is price elasticity? All these things I am going to explain you in detail. So watch the video till the end to get the complete command on this topic. If you have not watched the earlier videos, I suggest you go to the playlist of my channel. Select the subject Financial Decision Making 2. Select unit number 2, pricing decisions. Watch all the videos, be perfect, be confident on the topic of this pricing decisions. Now before proceeding, take the screenshot of the points regarding this elasticity of demand, then I'll explain. Now, elasticity of demand. First of all, demand. In economics, demand means a desire of a person which is backed by ability to pay and willingness to pay the price. When a person is having ability to pay and also willingness to pay the price and he is having a desire, then it is called a demand. Example, if a person is having huge amount of money, he is willing to pay the price, he's having a desire to have that commodity, then that desire is called demand. So simply a desire which is backed by ability to pay and willingness to pay the price is called demand. And the law of demand says when the price increases, the demand decreases. When the price decreases, demand increases. There is inverse relationship between price and demand, other things remaining constant. But price is not the only determinant of demand. Apart from price, there are other determinants of demand. Demand is affected mainly by price. But apart from price, income of the people also affects the demand. The prices of substitutes, that means complementary goods or substitute related goods, the prices of related goods will also have an effect on the demand. So there are many determinants of demand which affects the demand of a commodity. Now we are going to concentrate on elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand means the responsiveness or change in demand due to a change in the determinant of the demand. There are many different determinants like price, income, substitutes, etc. So whenever there is a change in the price, in the income, in the substitute, it leads to the change in demand, right? So elasticity of demand is defined as the proportionate change in quantity demanded of a commodity due to a proportionate change in the determinant under consideration. Suppose the determinant under consideration is price. So what is the change in demand? What is the proportionate change in demand due to a proportionate change in price? We are taking only one determinant, that is price, right? Now, more precisely, it can be defined as the percentage change in quantity demanded of a commodity caused by 1% change in the determinant of demand under consideration, with other determinants being constant. I told you many determinants are there. We want to find out what is the elasticity of demand due to price. Only price I am taking, not other determinants, keeping the other determinants constant. Now, proportionate change in demand due to 1% change in price, that is called elasticity, keeping the other determinants as constant. Now, elasticity of demand is the degree of responsiveness of the demand of a commodity due to a fall in its price. If there is a change in price, what is the effect on the demand? Simple example I'll give you. in case of cars, suppose the prices of cars have been slashed down, definitely the demand for cars will increase, because the price is the determinant of demand. When there is a change in price, it leads to the change in demand. So the responsiveness in demand due to a change in the determinant of the demand, that is called elasticity. Now, how to find out mathematically by formula, how to find out the elasticity of demand? The formula of elasticity of demand is proportionate change in the quantity demanded divided by proportionate change in the determinant of that demand. Determinant of the demand under consideration. Example, in case of cars, the proportionate change in the demand for car, we will take in the numerator. Denominator we take the proportionate change in the price of car, because price is a determinant of the demand. This is the formula for elasticity of demand. Now, factors influencing price elasticity. What are the factors which affects the elasticity of demand? First of all, nature of commodity. The nature of commodity will be different. For example, food. We cannot compare food with AC or food with car. The car is a luxurious item. Without car also we can live. But food is a necessity. It's a need. So we cannot live without food. So can we say both the commodities are same, food and car both are same? No. They are different. In preferential order, both are different. In this way, we have so many commodities. We consume so many commodities, but the nature of commodities are different. So elasticity of demand depends on the nature of the commodity. Whether it is an essential good, or is it a luxurious good, or it is a comfort, like that. Next one is availability of substitutes and complementary goods. Substitute goods means those goods in which we have a choice whether to take this good or that good. Example, tea or coffee are substitute. We can consume either tea or coffee. When we prefer tea, we are not consuming coffee. When we consume coffee, we are not preferring tea. That means any one of these two items we will take. That is called. Similarly, if a person wants to purchase a car, he can purchase either a Maruti car or a Hyundai car. Both are substitutes. If you go for Maruti car, he is foregoing the Hyundai car, or if you go for Hyundai car, he is leaving Maruti car. These are called substitutes. Complementary goods means those goods which are dependent on one another. Like car and petrol, both are complementary goods, not substitutes. Because if you want to drive the car, you must have petrol. Petrol is needed to run the car. Similarly, if petrol is there, there is no car, no use of petrol. Both are dependent on one another. That is called complementary goods. So elasticity of demand will also depend on the substitutes on complementary. Number of uses of good. Normally, a particular good cannot be used only for one purpose. The same commodity can be used for multiple purposes. So we have to see whether the good can be used for how many uses. On that also elasticity depends. Consumers' income. One of the important factor which affects the elasticity of demand is the income of the consumer. If the income of the consumer increases, normally the demand will also increase. So income will change the demand. So income is the factor which affects the elasticity of demand. Durability of the commodity. All the commodities are not of equally durable. Some commodities are perishable. Some commodities will last long only for 1 or 2 years. Some commodities can last for 10 years. So durability also affects the elasticity of demand. Consumer taste, habits, fashions, preferences, customs. See here, the people's taste. Actually, the commodities are demanded by the people, but the nature of the people will not be same. The nature of the people will change from time to time. At a particular time, the people may like Hyundai car. At another time, he will say, no, Hyundai car is not better, a Maruti car is better. So his tastes and habits and preferences are changing. So as there is a change in the taste, habits, preference, customs of the people, it will affect the elasticity of demand. So these are the factors which affects the elasticity of demand. Now, types of elasticity of demand. We can classify the elasticity of demand into three categories. That is price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, cross elasticity of demand. First, I will explain you price elasticity of demand. The price elasticity of demand shows the responsiveness in the change in demand due to a change in the price. Other things remaining constant. All other determinants are remaining constant. What is the relationship between demand and price? Suppose the price changed by 5%. What is the change in demand? How much percentage demand changed? So we are showing the relationship between only two, price and demand. That is called price elasticity of demand. Proportionate change in demand due to a proportionate change in price. That is called price elasticity. So what is the formula to calculate price elasticity of demand? Numerator will take proportionate change in demand and denominator will take proportionate change in price. That's all. Second one is income elasticity of demand. Here we make the relationship between quantity demanded and the income of the people, right? Because income is also one of the factor, one of the determinant which affects the demand, Suppose if the income of the people decreases, it will affect the demand. Suppose if the income of the people increases, it will affect the demand. So income elasticity of demand shows the percentage change, the proportionate change in demand due to a proportionate change in income. The formula to calculate income elasticity of demand, numerator will take proportionate change in demand and denominator will take proportionate change in income, right? In this case, we assume other determinants are constant. The demand depends only on income. We assume other determinants are constant. Now I am coming to the third category, cross elasticity of demand. In this cross elasticity of demand will apply only for related goods. The related goods may be substitutes or it may be complementary goods. So in the case of substitutes and complementary goods, both are related. There we have to apply the cross elasticity of demand. What this cross elasticity of demand says, what is the proportionate change in demand of a particular commodity due to the change in the price of the related commodity. Example, in case of Maruti and Hyundai both are related goods, both are substitutes. Suppose there is a change in the price of Maruti cars. So it will lead to a change in the demand for Hyundai cars. So we'll take in numerator proportionate change in demand of Hyundai divided by proportionate change in the price of Maruti. That is called cross elasticity of demand. So I have explained you the meaning of the term elasticity of demand and the types of elasticity, price elasticity, income elasticity, cross elasticity. Now the last topic is types of price elasticity of demand. Normally among all the factors, the main factor which affects the demand is the price. Major factor, biggest factor which affects is the price. The price elasticity of demand. We can categorize the price elasticity of demand into 5 categories. That is, first one, perfectly elastic demand. Perfectly elastic demand means there is a huge change in the demand due to a small change in price. The change in demand is more than the change in price. then the elasticity is called perfectly elastic demand. For example, in case of luxurious items or like cars, if there is a slight change in price, if the price change is very small, it will lead to huge change in the demand. That is called perfectly elastic demand. The price changed only by 1%, whereas the demand changed by 40%. Example I am giving. So huge change in demand due to a small change in price. That is called perfectly elastic demand. In case of perfectly elastic demand, the value of perfectly elastic demand is infinity. It can go up to infinity. The value will be more, because in numerator we are changing the change in demand. In denominator we are taking the change in price. The price is changed by small value, whereas demand is changing by huge value. So the price elasticity, perfectly elastic demand, the value will be infinity. Next is perfectly inelastic demand. Perfectly inelastic demand. That means whatever be the change in the price, the demand remains constant. No change in demand due to whatever change in the price. The price might have increased or the price might have decreased, the demand remaining constant. This is called perfectly inelastic demand. Simple example, in case of salt. We consume salt in our dishes, right? Suppose if the price of salt increased, presently the price is 20 rupees. Now suddenly the price of salt increased to 200 rupees. Normally what will happen when the price increases, the demand should decrease. So when the price of salt increased from 20 rupees to 200 rupees, the price increased. So we should not consume salt. We should make the dishes without salt. Will you do it? No. We will consume, we will use, we will purchase the salt even if it is 200. That means the demand for salt is constant, whether the price is 20 rupees or 200 rupees. This is called perfectly inelastic demand. In case of perfectly inelastic demand, the value will be 0. Because in numerator, proportionate change in demand, there is no change. 0 change. Denominator, any change in price. So 0 by any number, you will get 0. That's why the perfectly inelastic demand, the numerical value will be 0. Now unitary elastic demand. In unitary elastic demand, the proportionate change in demand is exactly equal to the proportionate change in price. That means both are same. The price changed by 5%, demand also changed by 5%. If price changed by 10%, demand also changed by 10%. It is called unitary elastic demand, right? In case of unitary elastic demand, the value will be 1, because numerator and denominator both are equal. Proportionate change in demand is 5%. Proportionate change in price is 5%. 5 by 5, 1. That's it. Now, relatively elastic demand. Relatively elastic demand means when the proportionate change in demand is more than the proportionate change in price. Suppose the price changed by 5%, the demand changed by 10%. That means change in demand is more than the change in price. It is called relatively elastic demand. In case of relatively elastic demand, the value will be more than 1. The relatively elastic demand, the value will be more than 1 because numerator is more, denominator is less. Last one, relatively inelastic demand. In this case, the proportionate change in demand is less than the proportionate change in price. Example, if the price changed by 10%, the demand changed only by 5%. So 5 divided by 10, so you will get 0.5. That means the value of relatively inelastic demand is less than 1. So if the relatively inelastic demand, the numerical value will be less than 1. It will be 0. Whereas in case of relatively elastic demand, the value will be more than 1. In case of unitary elastic demand, the value will be 1. Whereas in case of perfectly inelastic demand, the numerical value will be 0. No change. Whereas in case of perfectly elastic demand, the value will go to up to infinity. That's all. This is the complete explanation of the different types of price elasticity of demand. So in this video, I have explained you about the meaning of the term elasticity of demand. What are the different types of elasticity of demand, like price elasticity, income elasticity, cross elasticity, and what are the different types of price elasticity of demand. So if you watch this video 2-3 times, definitely you don't find any difficulty while writing the question in your examination regarding this topic, elasticity of demand. So if you are satisfied with my lecture, give a like to the video. Share my channel among your groups, among your friend circles, so that more students can watch the video and enhance the knowledge. Give your comments on these videos. Subscribe my channel if you have not yet subscribed, and by the super thanks which is given below my video. Inshallah, we will continue the next topic in the next video.